This last year has been awfully tough on our trees. We've had some severe weather, starting with that drought and heat that we had last year. Going into the winter months with some heavy storms. We've had heavy storms this spring with flooding rains. So the trees have really had an awful lot to deal with this last year. One of the things we've experienced is dieback in trees. This tree I'm standing in front of has experienced a major dieback here with this big branch. And so when we look at removing a bigger branch like that, we're going to want to make sure that we have a bigger handsaw in this case, gloves to protect yourself, and safety glasses, of course. We're going to use a 3-cut method where I'll make an undercut to prevent tearing from the bark. I'll remove the main part of the stem, and then I'll come back to what we call the branch bark ridge, the protective part of the branch, and make that last cut so we have a good clean cut and the tree can survive this damage. Sometimes other things we'll deal with are branches that are near travel corridors. So in this case, it's a pedestrian bicycle route, could be along a street or some sort of road where branches are going to be hit by vehicles. And so we're going to want to protect the tree by coming in and bringing the branches back to a good point, someplace that looks aesthetically pleasing to you, so it doesn't look like we have any kind of stubs sticking out of the tree. So again, using a saw, in this case I'm using a smaller saw since the branches are much smaller. You may need to use that 3-cut method again to support to make sure we don't tear the wood, or if it's smaller you can support it well and cut through the wood carefully, again using your gloves and safety glasses to protect yourself. This tree here, this maple that we're looking at, is one of those cases of really putting on a tremendous amount of growth. You can see it's really full down here. We've got a lot of low branches. And even though we have a nice sized mulch ring, and that's an important thing to make sure that you've got a good sized mulch ring under the trees, this can be a little hard to mow around and work around. So if you have a tree like this in your yard, you're going to want to come through and raise some of these branches off, remove some of these lower branches, and do it in a way that, again, it's aesthetically pleasing. We don't want to strip this thing down so that we have no leaves or any branches low, but we want to raise things up so we can get through here safely. Using our small saw or lopper to use this sort of work, do this sort of work, would be the right tool for this. So a couple things to think about. If you're working on trees that the branches are very large or too high, or maybe it's just too dangerous for one person to work on, you may want to consider hiring one of our state certified arborists to come in and help you do that work.